Prince Albert is a hub city. 38,000 people, more on the weekends. And it's always hard to pin down the population. I think personally it's 40 to 44,000. We have the minerals, we have the uranium, we have agricultural commodities. Did you want to have this thing, Michael?
I think you hit it right there, Mayor.
Well, thank you. That's why we're along. Just for emotional support, yeah.
Your Worship, thanks you for this privilege. To begin, could you briefly introduce Prince Albert and your introduction? Can you describe the strategic position that the economic importance of Prince Albert in the economic landscape of Saskatchewan?
Well, thank you, Leo. And thank you very much for the opportunity. I want to introduce Michael Nelson. He's the Director of Planning and Development, which includes economic development. A lot of our, our growth needs and processes within the city. For example, planning and development would be involved with the purchase of the mill, the farm pulp mill with BMI. But let me go back to your question. Prince Albert is a hub city. We're a hub city for northern Saskatchewan. We have a really good position and partnerships with many of the First Nations communities. We have 10 urban reserves. We're close to the mining industry. We're close to the agricultural industry. We're on the edge of the forest reserves. We were known and still are a forestry capital of Canada. And we're a service hub to multiple industries that are involved with the Saskatchewan economy. 38,000 people, more on the weekends. And it's always hard to pin down the population. I think personally it's 40 to 44,000, but it is a hub for retail, education, services, government. Michael, help me out. What else are we having?
We are definitely located as a transitional point for the agriculture to the south and rich resources on the north, which makes our city definitely a service hub for multiple industries that drive Saskatchewan economics.
Sure. From your perspective as mayor, what does the term raw materials mean in the context of municipal economic development?
Well, simply, George, and that's a really good question. It really gets down to the fundamental natural resources. We have the minerals, we have the uranium, we have agricultural commodities, and our regional resources are significant economic assets. We are, if you take a look at the uranium supply in Canada, we're one of the richest northern areas, agricultural, in a particular area, Ekhaguere River Valley, just to the east of us, one of the most fertile, if not the second or first most fertile area internationally. So there's really some incredible resources regionally.
That's awesome. Why is it important for municipal leaders to understand and actively engage in raw materials that underpin their local economy?
Well, again, that's a really good question. I mean, frankly, it's important for us as leaders and as my directors, as the wheels under the bus. We need to understand how raw materials affect our economy, help develop our local economic strengths. And if we understand what our strengths and our resources are and our connections with industry, our growth will attract investors and attraction to investment in our region. And we also, currently we're looking at how we align our development activities with the resources that are around us and really want to support the secondary industries. We'll never get a chemical headquarters in Saskatchewan, Prince Albert. But what about, if there's a sub-operation, if there's a supplier, we're the hub for transportation. We've got rail up to here, we've got air, we've got trucking. So those kind of things add to the value of supporting raw materials industry. Did you want to add anything, Michael?
I think you hit it right there, Mayor.
Well, thank you. That's why I brought him along.
Just for emotional support, yeah. Excellent. That's excellent. Emotion. The fourth question will be, CACERMDI categorizes raw materials into three: mineral, agricultural, and energy raw materials. How will these categories manifest within or around Prince Albert?
Well, I think we kind of touched on that, but I'll reiterate. We've got mining in the far north. And again, a lot of this product comes towards Prince Albert. But more, in terms of transportation, more importantly, with the precious minerals and metals, we're looking to strategically position ourselves in that servicing processing line. And we've got agriculture, a very strong agriculture, in 270 degrees around us. And forest. Forest, we're right on the, we are the start of forest belt. So that energy, right?
Lots of great resources just surrounding us, and just be able to take advantage of it, and let everybody know that Prince Albert is one of the last major cities between the northern communities, and we want to make that to be more of a hub city.
Beautiful. So, which agricultural raw materials we should say play the most important role in Prince Albert's economy today, either directly or indirectly?
Okay, I'm going to start off, and I'm going to let Michael kind of take it from there. A significant role in Prince Albert's economy, directly or indirectly, I'd have to say at the moment, building momentum in forestry, some of the work that Michael's been doing with the Forestry Association. And certainly in the immediate area around us, agriculture is a key strength. When you take a look at you take a look at rail, you take a look at the inland grain terminals, you take a look at the crops, heavy production of canola. Of course, we're known as potash, oil, wheat province. And we've got oil resources, although they don't affect us directly. But they do create employment for a lot of people from PA. Do you want to?
Yeah, just add to that, we have a large amount of farmland all around us, and farmers that will grow anywhere from wheat, oats, barley, flax, peas, which also contribute to that agricultural component that you've referenced.
Excellent. Are there energy or mineral raw materials, current or potential, that you believe are strategically important for Prince Albert's long-term growth?
Well, I'm certainly going to focus my attention on, our northern development.
Mm-hmm.
Uranium. We're one of the premier production areas for uranium in the entire world. And, we are, as a strategic location or a good geographic location, Prince Albert, again, we have the air transport, so we have a very active airport to springboard off to those northern communities. Very strong participation from our labor force. Michael, you want to fill in?
Yeah, we have some of the world's highest grade uranium deposits in the province, and a lot of the mineral exploration that's going on all around us. Recent mines being developed and soon should be operational, like the Foran mine, and that. So, we definitely feel that we are in a well position in the northern part of the province, and we hope that it helps impact long-term goals of both future development and growth of the city.
So we got that. How do raw materials contribute to job creation, investment attraction, and overall economic resilience in Prince Albert?
Michael, I'm going to let you start off with this one.
Perfect. Prince Albert's proximity to northern Saskatchewan for the forestry mining resources means that we can support jobs in forestry operations, mining exploration, and support the different services they need, as well as transportation that Mayor's talked about before, as far as rail, air, highway and connectors, and that. So investors should see stability in our community, that we are located near the resources and prime location for investment.
And what I'd like to springboard from that comment is that we're not dependent on any one single industry. And as a good example of that is, I'm going to say, when I was younger, skinny, and had hair, pulp mill shut down about 20 years, maybe 22 years ago. And everybody in PA felt that that would be the kiss of death, because there were 700 direct jobs, and then you have spin-off jobs for the economy. The really interesting thing was, again, Michael talked about resiliency. And the labor force shifted, the businesses shifted. Some of our residents commuted to, even a friend of mine commuted to Saskatchewan to work at ASCO Renewable. A lot of the guys that my son played soccer with a whole bunch of fellows that I knew their dads, and they diversified. They took their specialty. If it was electrical, industrial electrical, if it was metalwork, welding, whatever their specialty was, they went in to fill the gap in the local market. And we know that for many years we've faced labor shortages. It's been coming, and it hasn't really diminished. So I think that example of our diversity and our not a single reliance. We're not a single purpose town, like where you have a big sawmill and the sawmill closes and the town shrivels up and dies. Uranium City is another example. We've got a pretty robust, resilient economic position and prospects.
That's awesome. Now, how does the city balance economic development from raw materials with environmental stewardship and long-term sustainability? I know this is a little bit of a broader question.
Okay, well, I'll start off on a very broad level. Again, if you have the raw materials in and around or close to the area that you're located, you have attraction. Being a city with a good infrastructure and a decent workforce, and the proximity to a lot of these resources, we certainly can again supply labor force. There's some exciting developments just to the east of us with the aluminum deposits. To the north, we have the copper development. I just talked the other day with a fellow from around Candle Lake that has the rights or the options to a diamond find. We have a long-standing process for the diamond mine very close to us. So those things are likely going to challenge for Prince-Albert because of our transportation position. But Michael?
One other one that comes to mind is forestry in particular is a long-term economic opportunity for us. The city of Prince Albert has partnered with Forest Saskatchewan and some key stakeholders to develop a healthy forest strategy, along with conversations with post-secondary institutions, First Nations, just to develop a framework for just enhancing health of our forests. This could include improve awareness, career opportunities, and long-term resources for different opportunities for residual fibers in the community as well.
And if I can chime in and kind of springboard off of what Michael was saying, a really important aspect if we talk about development and stewardship and sustainability, the forestry is a renewable resource, and that's very, very key. Agriculture, of course, it's an annual renewable. One of the things, the environment sustains us, but in turn, we need to sustain the environment. And I know when I was growing up, the farming practices did exactly that. So things have shifted, but we are partnering and working quite closely with First Nations communities. In the area, we're working very closely with post-secondary institutions. So we've got this alliance in between education and industry, which we certainly support and look to facilitate as much as possible. We've got, the career opportunities for energy-related, forestry-related opportunities. So again, being a training hub, we have 6 post-secondary institutions, believe it or not, in Prince Albert. A lot of people don't know that. So I really think that with the traditional stewardship that comes from First Nations culture and communities, coupled with the environmental regulations from the federal and provincial government, and the facilitation with the local community and investment potential investors. I think we've got a very robust and holistic approach to environmental stewardship and long-term sustainability. Now, our mining resources, I can't say that they're sustainable, but certainly very viable for years and years and years. But the key thing there is everybody has to be aware of what the impact is on operations. And we had an experience with somewhere just east of Lloydminster or North Battleford, where we had an oil spill. And that really taught us the critical need for protection for the environment. It polluted our water supply, and we had to do a very, very major pivot. I wasn't in office, but the local team, the administration, the mayor and council, the oil company all worked hard. But it was a very damaging experience.
Yeah. Looking ahead, what opportunities do you see for Prince Albert to further leverage its raw materials for inclusive and sustainable economic growth?
Well, again, when we take a look at what's around in our area, Indigenous partnerships talk about the economic development potential that those communities have, and value-added forestry, as well as primary forestry, opportunities in wood manufacturing, food processing. We've had approaches from one organization that has worked internationally with food processing. But again, I'll turn to my colleague here. And
I think you hit some of the key points there. One of the messaging that I would like to share on that is, to reiterate, Prince Albert is open for these opportunities. So if anyone has different ideas, ideas that might help support the community, the growth with these materials, we encourage them to contact us.
That's awesome. So you get down to the last question here now. So what message would you like to deliver to global investors, policymakers, young people watching this interview about Prince Albert's future and a global raw material ecosystem?
Thank you, George. That we're standing on the threshold and talking to Premier Mo and our Minister of Trade, Export, and Development. And all of a sudden, I'm blanking on the honorable minister's name. But everybody has commented on the potential and the threshold that Prince Albert is standing. I'll go back to our regional position as a hub. I'll talk about the very strong forestry sector and the energy, mines, resources, and the labor market. We have a very young and rapidly growing community in Prince Albert, and we're ready for growth. One thing I'd like to talk to the policymakers about particularly is the need for infrastructure support as we grow. We're going to have a regional hospital. As we grow, we need support for sewage treatment plant, housing development, infrastructure under the ground, those kind of things. But in terms of growth potential, we are standing on the threshold. Michael, what are your, from a practical point of view, what's your?
Just to add to some of those comments, we are home to multiple post-secondary educations. So we have facilities in place to train these people. So we want people to know that We are welcome to growth. We are open to new ideas. We have post-secondary that can train skilled workers, and the cost of living in Prince Albert is relatively affordable.
And then that's a really good point. When you take a look at housing costs across the province, anybody who's looking to relocate people or set up a small industry or look at a supply line, as you're bringing your labor force in, affordability is important. And I'm going to spin off a little bit here. But just working on my state of the city address and things that people brought to me in interviews are that, in addition to the business sector and the housing costs, we have a very robust arts community. We have a museum. We've got a state-of-the-art twin pad arenas, new wave pool. Again, our health center, our education. So we're the third largest city in the province, but we're not a big city. We're 40,000 people on any given day, but we punch way above our weight. And the other thing I would mention, that's come through the interviews that I've been doing, is that PA is a city with all of these amenities, and close to Saskatchewan. If you want to do the big concerts, we do have a great concert hall here, excellent productions. But we have a small town heart. And again, if you're looking for a place to live and you want to take a look at recreational opportunities, we have one of the largest urban parks in Saskatchewan. So it goes beyond just the raw materials. It goes to the culture and the character of the community. And I've lived in a couple different provinces. I've lived in several communities. I just can't say enough. And this isn't coming from the mayor. This is coming from a long-term resident of the city who followed his heart and who has moved away and always come back. And all three of my, and that's all I have, is 3 children, are all based here in Prince Albert. One works for a Crown, one runs a business in downtown, and the other one travels out from Prince Albert to work at different opportunities for power line construction. A lot of work up north. The company he worked for is Indigenous owned and very, very big player. So you've got all these moving parts that really makes Prince Albert. Everybody wants to say their city is unique, but I'm going to say that we certainly have flavor, character, and culture, and we're multicultural. Very large component of newly arrived Canadians who have established themselves well and gone into business. Leo?
Yes.
I'm not looking at Michael, I better take my off switch.
I think we covered that question well for sure. So
is there anything else you would like the global audience to know about Prince Albert's vision for resource-driven development?
Just give us one
For short statement?
short 40 second statement.
We're all about strategic alliances and partnerships. And those are the things that are going to drive long-term prosperity. And those are things that are going to drive sustainability. We value very strongly collaboration and partnership. And we just met with an organization that's saying, we're ready to work with you. And a fairly large Indigenous organization. So I think those are the things that are going to really propel us. Was that 40 seconds?
Yeah.
For us.
yeah.
I'd really like to know what the direction is that your organization is taking, and how do you see the national perspective and the regional perspective? How do you see Prince Albert working with you in strategic alliance?
It's always an interesting thing, especially my perspective is really strong agriculture, and you've known that for a while. And some of those opportunities, we got our raw material agriculture, but I do agritourism,
Yes.
which adds a mass component on a small acre for dollar revenue. And those market gardens and orchards and other things that agritourism, fruit and vegetables, which we can grow here. It's a little challenging sometimes because we're fairly far north, but those type of things, how do you add that value to that? So if you're going to grow, Saskatoons, which is one of our native fruits here, how do you process that now into jams or jellies or whatever else that really adds to it? And the canola industry done a really good job of this, and we were talking about that earlier, that, if you're just selling canola, it's one thing, but if you're crushing it, now selling oil, now you're exporting a more valuable product in a smaller plant. And the organic industry's done a really good job of this. And, you're talking about your sustainability, that, instead of selling your lentils to a wholesaler, you're selling your grandma's soup recipe with lentils and your own herbs that you've grown and selling that for a much higher value and gaining more of that thing. And I think that's kind of how do you come up with that extra value added component.
Yeah. So, Prince Albert on the city. I am extremely glad we made it to the city.
We're melted.
Yeah. It's my 8th year in this city, and it's my 8th year in Canada. So I went to Toronto and I came back. But the way I see Prince Albert is, I am looking at Prince Albert as a global center point for raw materials. As a center where a final authority on raw materials location in the world. There's no private company in this world that does what they do. Ours is a pioneer company that gives final authority on where you can find what around the world. And being in Prince Albert, we want the whole world to see Prince Albert as a place where they can come in, do business without any interruption of any kind. And I, as an individual, I have to do business doing like this. And run the security company and being the chairman of the Canadian Raw Materials Council, I'm the president of the Canadian Center for Raw Materials Content. I have seen support in this city, and I cannot take that for granted. And I, as a person, is a testimony to other persons who would love to come into the city. Seeing the way a lot of persons said they thought I've lived here for about 20 years. One of our doctors said, what I've achieved within a short while, he has not been able to achieve it in over 20 years that he has been in this city. So we're just kind of seeing Prince Albert as a place where immigrants can come into and be a part of the economic development in the city. And I'm glad that the city is giving a welcoming hand to everybody, regardless of where they're coming from. I want the Canadian Center for Raw Materials Incorporated, the center, to be headquartered continuously here in this city of Prince Albert. We don't want to move into Saskatchewan or anywhere. We want the city to be where the physical center will be built in the future. And as it were, we want to attract more individuals to the city. We have brought in a subnational government from Africa to this city in 2024 November, COVID state government. We brought them here. And we have brought in over 30-something people from outside of Canada to attend conference in the city. We host international conferences. With the conference that we host, a lot of people are getting to know Prince Albert. All we are doing with regards to this interview is to further market Prince Albert in good light to investors and to people who would love to come here. Many people want to come to Canada, but they may not even know a city called Prince Albert. With this interview, we are projecting Prince Albert as a city where people can come here and do business without fear or favor. And we are glad to say that all of our businesses will be headquartered here in the city as a proof that Prince Albert is indeed a multicultural environment that welcomes everyone and accept the strength of everybody regardless of where you're coming from. As far as you're contributing positively to the environment of the city will always welcome you. So we want to be that testimony to everyone out there. And I thank you, your worship, for granting us this opportunity to be here today.
Well, we're very grateful for your center to have honored us with your location. And you mentioned Saskatoon. I want to make a point that the sun might rise in Regina, It might set in Saskatoon, but it shines all day long in Prince Albert. So I hope that message resonates with your viewers, and that pretty well sums it up. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much.
Okay, with you.
Thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Mr. Michael.